I think that the transformation that Tommy and Alan made is absolutely superb. I love the room, everything about it. It was well worth it. Compared to the old fireplace, I think this fireplace has added a focal point to the room. It's right for the period of the property. Having Tommy and Alan here for the week was an amazing experience. Not just watching them work, but watching them act the fool together. It was fantastic. Now I've seen how it's done, I'll attempt possibly the fireplace in the other room. I think I'll probably use the room in the long term as a dining room, but I've sent the table away for restoration, and so I'm going to enjoy it at the moment as a sitting room, and it might stay as a sitting room because I do love it. It's a super transformation, nothing like it was before they arrived, and everybody says it's lovely that comes in, so it was obviously worthwhile.
Hi, and welcome to the first day of a brand new challenge. Now, we're in Bodmin in Cornwall.
Hang on, Tommy, I think this is the house here. The scaffold's outside.
Right, that's it. Well, our task today is to do some renovation and restoration work in a Georgian dining room in this house. Good morning.
Hello, lovely to meet you.
You must be Jane.
Yes.
This is Big Al.
Hello, Jane.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
We've got to get him working hard.
I'll try. Come through.
This is the dining room, is it?
Yes, this is the room.
Wow.
Wow, look at that, Al. It's a nice bit of panelling.
Incredible. Look at these whirligigs here.
Yeah, they're nice, bit of carving.
Yeah.
This house must be listed?
Yeah, grade 2 listed.
Yeah, I thought so. And what have we got to do?
The
Got to be careful, Al.
Yeah.
fireplace, really. The red tiles are 1930s, so not in keeping with the house, so replace them with what should be there originally.
So the house is what? It's Georgian?
Georgian.
Yeah, they definitely aren't Georgian, that's for sure. So what we'll have to do then, you want to take this out and put what we want to
Find
put?
an original fireplace and put it back in, or the insert.
The insert and reuse the surround.
Yeah, keep the granite surround.
Granite or slate?
No, slate.
Slate, yes, I thought it was slate looking at it. And there's a, have you got,
Yeah,
oh yeah, that's the spare
got bits
piece.
down there. All the bits are there. I moved in just over a year ago, and it was really quite a disgusting state. It was grubby, damp, but loved it. It's always something I've wanted to do since quite a young child, was renovate a house. And it had so many original features in that were there underneath everything else. No MDF, no nothing else, just all these original features. The room that Tommy and Alan are working in is a lovely room. Obviously was very beautiful years ago and has been left to get a bit grubby. The panelling is beautiful, the stained glass window is beautiful, and just lots of lovely features. Fireplace, I think, will be very nice, and the arches either side of the fireplace are going to be lovely. So it'll be nice to have it back to how it should be.
Well, we have a bit of an issue in the way we're going to deal with this job, because normally the procedure would be to take out this fire surround, then take out the insert, then put the insert in, the fire surround back, and then plaster the walls to the fireplace. Once we've got the first coat on and the second coat on, then we can take this out.
So effectively, then you're going to be putting this back in and just pointing it in?
You've got it in one. That's the only way we can do it in the time, or we're not going to succeed. Pity about this, really, though, because this would have gone all the way around and really made a nice-looking arch.
Well, speaking to the historian the other day, that actually isn't original, that bit round the pillar.
Round the column? No,
No.
I know that's not the original
and we can
stuff.
take it off because it'll be back to its original if it stops at the other bit of wall, which would make the arches look much nicer, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but normally, if it's been added on at some later date, you're expected to retain it.
Yeah, but it's OK because we're taking it back to its original.
So they're OK with that?
Yeah, he's been in and seen it and he's fine with that.
Right, when replastering, an important tip is to rake out all the joints, and that creates a key so that when you replaster, it bonds to the wall properly. Now, while I was here, I was just wondering why this actual fireplace, this had come off, and these bricks on this old insert had blown off, and I thought, why is that? But when I was down here actually punching all this off, I found that this fireplace has actually been forced off the wall. Maybe the moisture behind has blown it off the wall. And it's actually out about 1.5 to 2 inches over that distance. So in order to rectify this, this would have had to come off in the first place and then put back on nice and level, corrected. So we're here just in time.
Come and have a look at this. Now, I wondered what this was here, and I've just piggled away a bit of plaster above here.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's an old bell pull?
Oh, yeah, that must be like a swivel system there.
It's all rotted now and corroded.
Yeah, this might have been an old bell that was on here, or pull.
Yeah.
There's something moving there. Here we go, what we got here? Part of the mechanism. That when they're sitting around the fire and they want the butler to come and pour them out a nice large whiskey,
yeah,
they just give that a little tug and he'd appear with a glass of whiskey.
Right. Did it work the same with a cup of tea?
I don't know, shall we give it a try?
Yeah, it's your turn.
In old stone houses like this, you should use lime plaster rather than sand and cement to avoid moisture getting trapped in the walls. I've popped over to the Cornish Lime Company in Bodmin to find out more. If you're restoring an old property, lime could be a crucial ingredient in the restoration. Now, this is Phil Brown, who's what we call a limey. Now, that doesn't mean to say he's English, because he's a good Cornishman, but he's one of these guys who's fanatical about the ingredient and use of lime. Now, lime's been used for thousands of years, Phil, hasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's sort of faded in the last century or so.
Yeah.
Now, why is that? Why is that?
The Second World War was the real turning point. Although cement had been around for a very long time, you know, 100 years, all but at that time, it was then its time to prove itself, really prove itself in the defence of the country.
Now, you actually produce it on a commercial scale here.
We do. This is our lime slaking sort of facility or setup. Calcium oxide, it's put through the mixer there. It's the process of slaking, and there's an exothermic reaction.
Slaking, exothermic reaction. I'll try and make this sort of understandable from a layperson's point of view. The raw material comes in, you take it in a container, put it up in there and add water.
Just simply add water to the lime.
And there's a paddle mixer in there, so that mixes it all up.
You've got to keep it moving all the time. But,
and it turns it into like a coconut milk.
Absolutely, and we then lay down what we call a milk of lime into storage tanks where we mature it for a minimum of 6 months.
Now, can I see this work?
Yeah, come and have a look.
Oh,
so we'll show
okay.
you the sort of principle.
Now, goggles on for this because it could be quite exciting. No, this is just what? Plain water?
As you see, just a simple enamel bucket, cold water in there. This is basically what we carry out outside in the industrial setup. So here we have quicklime, calcium oxide, placed into the bucket, potentially quite dangerous. Just take a few scoops of this, you can hear it. Give it a second or two to start reacting.
Well, you can see it's actually starting to bubble, and you can certainly hear it. It's like a hot spring, isn't it?
Right, so on that, we keep it moving all the time. It's crucial that this is kept moving. It controls...
a less violent reaction.
Yeah, it's an exothermic reaction taking place. So this obviously controls it, and as you can see, it's now steaming away. We'll just pop
Is it hot?
Oh, you'll be amazed at the temperatures this can achieve.
God, look at that going up.
As you can see, it achieves very high temperatures very quickly. So we're all about 100 degrees C there.
Yeah, 100 degrees centigrade.
So we're at...
There's an element of danger working with this then when you're slaking it.
Very much so,
yeah.
Very much so.
So this is where the slake line comes. It comes down a pipe and into one of these bays.
We hold it in these sort of tanks then, yeah. So they're simple sort of concrete tanks. And there you have a nice wall of 6-month-old mature lime putty.
Oh, it's like a good quality cheese, isn't it? Huh?
That's it, laid down for 6 months just to mature it. Build up the crystal structure that sets it apart from the sort of normal hydrated lime that you'd buy in a builder's merchant. The older it is, the better it is. It's thought that the Romans had a law that it had to be a minimum of 2 years old.
Do you know what, Phil? That last statement you made, I can live with that. The older it is, the better it is. So I've got something to look forward to as I get older.
putting together the ingredients for Tommy's render mix. Now, this is natural, sharp sand, thoroughly cleaned, no clay in it. So I need 3 buckets of this. So we'll put them in first. The next is the hydraulic lime. That goes in gently when it's all mixed up. Then we put in the final catalyst.
Now, before we actually put the plaster on, it's crucial that we give it a good soaking. So I've got this spray, pressurised spray gun. Oh, that's clever. Get a good soaking. Now, you probably have to do this 2 or 3 times. You can use just an ordinary big brush and some clean water.
Now, the next portion is natural cement, and there's 2 of these to go in with this mix. Again, add it gently.
Well, what's the hold up then?
You ready for this gear, Tommy?
Oh, lovely.
Is that all right for you?
It looks about the right consistency. Let's see. I'm going to use your little trowel for the corner. Is that all right?
Yeah, fine, go for it. I want to see this go on. It's coarse, doesn't it?
Now, the first coat, you just got to really slap it on.
Bit high?
Yeah, a bit high. You can see now, this was only put on about 25 minutes ago, and look, it's already as hard as a rock. That's because it's got that accelerator in it, you know, that catalyst, the prompt cement. And you just need to run a straight edge over there, just to get it a bit straighter. While Al and I are putting the lime plaster around the fireplace, Jane's preparing the other wall for the next coat. Right, now, before you plaster on a wall like this has got sand and cement on it. And I can't put anything over the top of it because whoever did this before, they didn't build it out thick enough, so I've got to go over the top. But they didn't provide me with a key, so they didn't key this up. So if I stick anything on top of this, it will slide off. So using this scutching hammer, like that, with those little points, we have to chip up the face of it. Then we have to apply a glue solution, like a PVA glue solution, over the top to make it stick. And then we're going to put a lightweight plaster on top of it. Right, now that's ready for the next coat of plaster. So it's the end of day 1 of the challenge, and so far it's going according to plan. We haven't done bad, have we?
I think we've done well.
We've done all the preparation work.
Yeah.
We've managed to get the first coat of undercoat lime plaster on the wall.
Yeah.
Which you had to help me because it was going off so quick.
Yeah, slapping the gear on.
Yes, got him slapping the gear on. The next stage is to actually put the second coat of undercoat plaster on and then tentatively remove the fire surround and then take out and demolish this insert.
Yeah.
Blooming raining. Hi, welcome to day 2 of our challenge, and we're in Bodmin in Cornwall, and our task is to do some restoration work on this wonderful Georgian dining room. Now, the story so far is we've managed to do a lot of preparation work, and we've done the first coat of lime plastering. And today we're going to do the second coat of lime plastering, and then we're going to take out the fireplace. When you're working on a listed building, it's very important to work closely with your local conservation officer. Well, this is Sarah Corse, who's a conservation officer for North Cornwall. Now, Sarah, you're in charge of all the historic buildings in North Cornwall, then?
Yes, yes, and also the conservation areas we've got.
Jane's house here is a Grade 2 listed building. What does that and all the other listings actually mean?
Grade 2 listed buildings, as with the other 2 listed buildings, are in fact listed inside as well as outside. And so with that, it means that if you wish to do any alterations to removing partitions, walls, fireplaces, skirting boards, doors, stairs, that all needs potentially permission.
If you don't, there are repercussions, aren't there?
Yeah, there are actually. It actually can be deemed a criminal offence. So it does pay dividends to be honest about it.
Do you want to come and have a look at the work I'm doing inside?
All right.
Now, Sarah, this may look a little bit different to the last time you were here. I don't actually mean the fireplace, not yet anyway.
Right. That fireplace actually dates from the 1930s, so to put something back in there that's more appropriate to the surround, which dates from about 1830, the whole piece, together with the work you've done on the arch, will make the room
hopefully look more like it should
yes, and give it that grandiose sort of architectural statement that this room used to actually be.
I don't know what we're going to put in here yet, but whatever it is, it's certainly be far more suitable than that is. I mean, that's quite grotesque for this room.
This piece of corner plaster bead here has gone completely at the bottom. It's gone walkabout. I don't know where it is, so I've got to make a new piece. Now, I'm making it out of a piece of tile batten, which is pressure treated, so it should resist the damp a little bit as well. But I've got to bring these 2 pieces in together, so I've got to replicate this onto this. Now, the easiest way of doing it, because we've got a 3/4 round on here, is to use a router cutter. Now, this one is a 1/4 radius router cutter, and it's almost the same as that. When I say almost, it's about the only one that I've got nearest to the size. So I've got to run that down twice on here, and then take out a rebate out of here, and then put in the chisel marks, which is the key for the plaster to grip onto the wood. So, with no further ado, I'll set up the router and we'll start cutting.
Now we've got to take the fireplace out. To be safe, we're going to take the mantle off first. We're going to cut this out, take it off, lay it down, and then we'll take it apart piece by piece. Jane, would you come in and just keep your hands on there while we try and tickle this up? Now, if you stand up, we lift it up and then out so we don't drag anything. Ready?
Okay, yeah.
And we've tipped the dirt off it so it doesn't go in Jane's eyes, all right?
Yeah. Right, over.
Don't drop it now. It's all right, Jane.
It might break the mantle.
You're safe with us. You go up there. We stand it down here. We'll keep it upright.
Yeah.
The reason why storing it upright on its edge, it's less like if you lay it on the floor, someone's bound to tread on it. And snap it clean in half, yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that myself, so that's why I know. It's very expensive to put right. Now, we'll try and lift it, and it might come away separately to that.
Yeah, hang on a minute, my end's loosening. Yeah, it's coming away.
Jolly good. I've got that, yes. Oops! Just joking. You have an art taken. Right, I've got it. Ready?
Yeah.
Watch your eyes. There we go, we'll take that off.
I've known Jane since secondary school. She's always been a doing person. I don't think I've ever seen her sit around and do nothing, and if she sits down, she's knitting. So she's had a busy old life. She's got 3 grown-up girls and they're lovely. So she gets on with absolutely anything. She'll turn her hand to anything, as you can see around you.
She's a bit of a barn pot, and I think she's absolutely mad for taking this on board. She'll set out to do something and just railroad into it and get through it and get through to the other side.
It's been interesting to see how the work's progressed, and I am so pleased to see her having some help here. And she will have a room at the end of the day that she has just dreamed of, so it's a really nice result for her. She's so used to doing things on her own, so it's really nice.
Well, in actual fact, guys, that fireplace is the sum of very few parts, isn't it?
Well, it's a good job, because I don't want to stick them back together again. Anyway, come on, sling your hook. I want to get this fireplace out.
Hold on. Here we go. Whoop, that's coming out all in one piece. Oh, it's coming up in one piece. Will you stop? I'm trying to sweep up the floor and you're making more mess up the wall. Will you stop it now? That's good enough.
Are you having a go?
It's the end of a long time.
Just do my boots before you go.
Oh, right, how's that? Hmm?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, right, do you want to brush up all round here? Right, that's that done. We can come out all right.
Yeah.
All we've got to do now is find the perfect insert.
We'll just finish it off.
And we can complete the fireplace.
Well,
Come,
let's go. Yeah.
Join us next time to see Al fix a sash window and create some shelved alcoves. And now the red brick insert is out of the way, we can restore the fireplace to its former Georgian glory. Hi, and welcome to our current challenge. Now, we're in beautiful Bodmin in Cornwall, and we're working in a Grade 2 listed Georgian house. And our task is to do some restoration work in a beautiful dining room. Come through here. Well, I know it doesn't look very beautiful at the moment, but I can assure you it once was, and it will be once again when we're finished. Now, here, there was an ugly fireplace. Well, the fireplace wasn't ugly, sorry, it's a contradiction there. It was the insert that was ugly. The surround was period, and it was Georgian, but the insert was put in 1930, so not really Georgian. And the first thing we need to do before we can actually do all the piecing together is to get an insert for this fireplace. Yeah, and then we can put the fireplace back and finish the plastering.
We've got to measure first.
Yes. Measure once, cut twice. That's Al's version. Mine is measure twice, cut once. We've sent Jane off to a salvage yard in Tavistock to find something suitable as an insert for the fireplace. These places are a fantastic hunting ground if you're renovating a period house.
Any idea when this one might be from? Do you think that's the Regency one?
Yeah, I would think so. Probably early.
Georgian? Yeah.
Early Georgian. Needs a bit of work on it just to tidy it up. It's got a bit of rust on it, but if you just rub that down.
I think that will fit in. I've got quite a nice slate surround.
Yeah.
And I think that will fit in with it rather nicely. OK, can we pop in the car, please?
Yep, that'll be fine. Yep.
Cheers. Thank you.
Now, how comes I always seem to get the heavy end?
Planning.
For that, I suppose I should be grateful. Oh.
Wow, that looks better than it did in the reclamation yard.
That is smart, isn't it?
Now, is this a genuine Georgian piece?
Yes, it is.
Right, well, it's not overly decorative, which is nice, so, yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I think it looked good.
The house, as I understand it, was probably built in 1800 on the site of another house. They think there would have been a house here. This also was a dreadful state when I moved. It was actually painted black, which was quite catching, really. It was the first room I did, so at night when I was doing the rest of the house, I could lie in the bath, relax and have somewhere nice to go. As far as the rest of the house goes, I haven't done the sitting room. There's another fireplace in there that needs some work done on it. But I started at the top 2 bedrooms are done. I've worked my way down the landings, so they're done, and we'll get there someday.
See, what we need to do See here, this is all oxidisation. You see, that's where it's come in contact with the moisture in the air. So you're going to have to get a wire brush, and you can see, if you give it a real good clean, it takes off.
It comes off beautifully, yeah.
And what's on here is the old paste, you know, the old black lead paste. Right, so I'll leave you to clean the whole of this insert. The first thing, this had years of polish and lacquer on it. We've got to try and bring it back to its natural state. So, to clean it, take a bit of wire wool, because that won't scratch the surface of slate. You have to be very careful. You can't use sandpaper. And then just get a ball of wire wool and just rub it over the surface. It smooths it down and it takes off... Look, see, it takes all that surface stuff off. And then Al's brought along... What's it called, Al? Acetone?
Acetone, yeah.
This is acetone, and just pour a drop onto the wire wool and then apply it on here, and you can actually see the grain coming up. Now, this is casting plaster, and I've got to be careful because it goes off really quick. So it's quite difficult to show you what I'm doing. So just leave that for a second. Now, how these are constructed, they're all individual components, and you use casting plaster to stick them together. But there's a hole there, and you can see next to it there's an old piece of iron, like an old iron fitting, and because it's gone into a stone wall which has moisture in it, it's gone rotten. So I'm going to replace it. I've re-drilled a new hole there, so you can just drill into it like that with a masonry bit. Now what I'm going to do is fit that into there, glue that in with the casting plaster. Cut down a bolt and I'll pop that in there. And this gets on top of there. Apply a bit of that there. I'm going to wait for this to go off properly, then I'll undo that little nut, tie the wire around it, and then put the nut back down, tighten it down. Hey presto, the two should be combined then.
I promised Jane that I'd have a look at this sliding sash window for her. Now, first of all, the cord's gone on one side, so I've got to replace that. I'll show you that in a minute. But more importantly, I've got a bit of a problem in as much as at the back here, or on the side, the parting bead and the box has all been spliced. There's one cut through there, and somebody's blocked in just there where it should actually be a channel, and then this front part of the boxing's been replaced as well. And remember, it's still being hung on one side with the sash cord. You bring that down and then clamp it. Now on this side, what we've got, this is the sash cord, and it goes down a groove into a knot at the bottom in this drill hole, and very often it's got nails in there to stop the cord coming out. But I'm going to have a go at that in a minute. First of all, I'll show you the box. This is the box section here, and the weights are behind this front face of wood. And the pocket that we've got to get into, roughly, is in line where I'm wiping the muck off, down here. And that is the access point where you get to the weights behind. That's it. It's a bit tight, but there you go. If I move the parting bead, you'll see the weight that I'm looking for. Now, I've got to try and get this weight out, and it's really fiddly. Oh. These ones are made out of cast. There we go. And they're made in a mould. Quite a rough article, really. And there's the sash cord that's broken away from it, look. Now, this is the mouse. And all it is a piece of string tied to a screw. And what I've got to do is pop this over the roller at the top of the window and down the other side. And then we tie the sash cord to the other end of it to pull it over. And when you've tied the knot, it's very, very unusual for them to come undone. Pull it tight, leave a little bit of a tail on the bottom, and then pull that up into the pocket, and then you feed it back in. like that. Now that weight's in position. All I've got to do now is pop the pocket back in, push the parting bead in, and then we can tie the casement to the cord, put it back together, and the window's finished.
The hearth has to be shaped to match the Georgian insert. This calls for careful measuring and cutting. Well, I think that looks pretty smart. Well, it will do when I've finished it.
I'm drilling a hole here that will receive this location stud. That will go in the bottom there, set in casting plaster, and then it will locate into a hole in the bottom of the hearth there so that the columns are in exactly the right position.
Keep her up in the air, Al.
Yeah.
A bit more.
That's it, that's spot on for me.
All right, hold on, let me just come back. Hold on, we'll do this, Al, because I've got to locate the pin.
OK, yeah, there.
Wind that wire round there like that. Put it through the eyelet that we've fixed into the wall. All we need to do is squeeze it up, slide it underneath that one. There you go, perfect. Once we put the mantle on the top of that, none of that will be seen, and it will just never come out. Quick, let me give you a hand. Hold on. Because we'll slide it down into position, yeah?
That's it.
Oh, look, we've got to
Ease it in.
just a little ease. A little tap on yours, is it all right?
No, it's there.
Yeah, you there?
Yeah.
This is a little bit high. That's it. Now I need to smack a little bit of gear around the back of that.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a bit tough, this gear, you know. That's it. Yeah. Right, well, what we'll do, we'll let this go off tonight and we can clean up them edges tomorrow once it's all set. Okay. Let's have a look. That looks pretty good, that does.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's already beginning to look like the room it should be. We've still got plenty to do. We've got the mantle to go, pack all the rest of it at the back.
Yeah.
We've got all the plastering to finish off.
Skirting boards.
And, of course, the shelves. All right, welcome to the final day of the challenge. We're renovating a dining room in a Grade 2 listed Georgian house, and we're in Bodmin in sunny Cornwall. And we're going to be inside. Typical, isn't it?
It is.
When the sun's out, we're in.
First job for me today is to backfill down behind this plate. Now, all these have gone off, they're all sealed, that's all sealed. So this is the last job before the mantle goes on the top. So get a little rammer, drop the muck in at the back, and then we've got to get it right down all the way along here so that it seals up the top edge.
Taking on the restoration of such a large house as this, and the fact that it's listed, is nothing short of madness.
I'm mad. Everybody thinks I am, but it's always been a lifelong ambition.
To restore an old house?
Yeah, since a young child.
But how did you acquire the knowledge?
Watching my father as a child.
That's not watching me, then.
No, sorry, it was before that, but now I watch you.
Are you happy with the work you've done so far around the house?
Yeah, it's coming on. I've done the kitchen, I've done a lot of the upstairs bedrooms, and the front door, spent quite a lot of time doing that. It was in a dreadful state.
What I like about these leaded lights is they always create a really interesting and nice feature within an old house.
There's actually some lovely features in the house.
What, that have survived?
Yeah, amazingly, under years of dirt and paint, they are there. Come and have a look at this. Well, so what do you think of this, then?
Well, that looks positively ancient to me. I mean, that's all hand-carved stuff as well.
Wonderful, isn't it?
So it's obviously not Georgian like the house, is it?
No. They believe it's 16th century and was old when the house was built and came from the demolition of the old priory.
So this was put in here when the house was constructed?
Yeah.
But it was already sort of 500 years old or something?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this then, Tom?
Yeah. Five and 5/8?
Ditto.
Perfect. Let's have a look at it. Come on, look.
I don't know whether I want to let go of this yet.
Oh, it's fine. Come on. All we've got to do now is just make good round the mantle. I'm using a bit of casting plaster here because it's a little bit lively, this plaster. And once this goes off, this hold it's solid.
Around the fireplace, there's a few tricky little corners because whilst they look 90 degrees, they're actually not. They're running off at tangents with it being an old house. So I've got to try and get all the angles cut out here with this. Make life a bit easier when I'm in there. These are what we call pellets, and these little pellets that I'm going to flick out of here in a minute are going to go into the screw holes that have been recessed in the skirting board. Now, the reason for that is if you glue them in, wait for the glue to go off and then go along the back of them with a sharp chisel, it all looks like pine, and if you keep the grain going the same way, you can hardly tell the difference and how it's been fixed. There you are, one pellet. Pop that in there and then just knock it home. Now that's in position now. Just let the glue set and then get a chisel at the back of it, plane it off flush with the wood, sand it, and then that's it all hidden.
Oh. That's that. Now, this is a special sort of mix. This is called, I think I'll get this right, it's called Thermicolite. Now, that's has fireproof qualities, and it's good for resisting heat. Now, when you fit a fireplace and you fit an insert, there's normally a void area at the back, and if you don't fill that in, what will happen is a lot of the heat will go out through the back and up the chimney, and you'll be putting your money out the roof. Now, what you should do is use some of this, knock it up with a binder, there's a bit of sand and some prompt cement in there with this stuff and some water, and then just pop it in the back like this. I'll show you. There. There's always a flue vent at the top of the insert. I've made a little shuttering frame at the bottom to stop it coming out. Whenever you light the fire, the coal fire, all the heat comes into the room rather than goes up the chimney. One more should do it. That's it. Right, that's the fire backing done. Yes, a little bit of time. Now, see these two alcoves? They're beautifully shaped. Now, in Georgian times, they would have had shelves up there, and there is evidence of shelves, old shelves, on the wall there. Now, we did mention that we may fit the shelves, but we weren't sure whether we'd have time within the time allotted for the challenge. But we're on time, and because Jane's been so good to us, made us loads of tea, we're going to knock up the shelves, aren't we?
Well, it's a good job we have got time, because...
What?
That's a right angle, OK?
I know that. I'm a builder.
90 degrees.
Yes.
That is the shape of the corner.
See, them Georgian builders weren't all they're cracked up to be, you know.
No, I think it must have been a Friday lunchtime, this corner.
Talking of which, time's knocking on, so I think...
Let's go and get them cut.
Come on.
Just try it for size. And that's That's a nice tight fit. Just got to put the battens on here and across here. 2 more shelves below it and that's it.
Like all good builders, we're going to clean up before we leave while Al's just putting up the last few shelves. And see how this here is tainted a little bit? That's just wiping it down with a sponge. I'm going to run over this with a wire brush and bring that back again as well.
I'm chopping off the tops of the plugs and then sanding them flush with the skirting board so that it's all ready for Jane to stain.
The trouble is, this whole slate looks a bit dull, so in order to try and bring it up, I'm going to use a mixture of 50% boiled linseed oil and 50% white spirit and just apply it with a soft cloth. Now, there we go. Perfect. Ah, yes. Well, that's more like it. Al, you finished?
As it happens, I have.
Come and have a look at this.
Now that looks smart, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm really pleased with that. Do you remember what it was like when we started?
Can I forget? Red brick?
Yeah, it was horrible, that was. And it wasn't Georgian at all, was it?
No, not at all.
And all the plaster, we had to do all that lime plaster.
How many coats?
And the panelling you got to take down.
Yeah.
Matched in the skirtings and...
Oh, this window. Dan mustn't forget the window.
That must have been the longest bit of sash cord fitting I've ever seen in my life.
The window's nearly falling apart on us.
Jane, come in and tell us what you think.
I think it's absolutely beautiful. I'm thrilled. Really am.
That pleased?
Yeah, I'm really thrilled.
Is it as good as you anticipated?
No, it's better.
It's better? Oh, that's good.
Really is.
Don't cry on me now. No tears, no tears. Well, I'm really glad. I think it's a wonderful job. Well done, Al.
And you. Well done to you.
And I think it's actually a job that even the Georgians would be proud of. Yeah?
Yeah, I'll agree to that.
Another challenge well done. Till the next time. See ya.
Cheers.
I think that the transformation that Tom and Alan made is absolutely superb. I love the room, everything about it. It was well worth it. Compared to the old fireplace, I think this fireplace has added a focal point to the room. It's right for the period of the property. Having Tommy and Alan here for the week was an amazing experience. Not just watching them work, but watching them act the fool together. It was fantastic. Now I've seen how it's done, I'll attempt possibly the fireplace in the other room. I think I'll probably use the room in the long term as a dining room, but I've sent the table away for restoration, and so I'm going to enjoy it at the moment as a sitting room, and it might stay as a sitting room because I do love it. It's a super transformation. Nothing like it was before they arrived, and everybody says it's lovely that comes in, so it was obviously worthwhile.